talking about, this dream team, Michael, all this stuff. I've noticed, I've watched some of your stuff. I even DM'd you one time, and we went back and forth on the exchange. That was between us. But when your book came out, and you came out with the book came out, I think you said something about how do you want to be remembered? And you said, I want to be remembered as the greatest of all time. And this was the Unguarded. And this came out November 9, 2021. If I'm not mistaken, The Last Dance came out during COVID. Was it April of 2020? I couldn't even tell you when The Last Dance came out. If you want to type in The Last Dance 2020 premiere, there it is. Okay, April 19th, 2020, which, by the way, the timing of that documentary couldn't have been better than the way it did right after COVID, because we all watched a Sunday night, 2 episodes for 5 weeks straight. So you were glued to the screen, 8 o'clock East Coast till 10 o'clock, and I'd bring the guys to my theater room. We'd sit there, watch that documentary together. It was epic. But when you said that, this is the one part that I'm really curious from your end. You said, I want to be remembered as the greatest of all time. And there was kind of a little bit of the conflict where you were not happy about The Last Dance, about the stuff that was said, and maybe not enough being covered with you guys. You saying, I want to be remembered as the greatest of all time, how much of that was really what you believed in? How much of that was you trying to sell a book? And how much of that was somebody behind closed doors flattering you, saying you didn't get enough credit for what you did during the Chicago's run?
I think it's just me believing in myself, in the way that I played the game, that I did it the right way. I did it where I won. I played the right way. My teammates loved the way that I played, and people, my peers, respected the way that I played. And I feel like that I got out of the game everything that I put into it, I was a guy that, I was a walk-on, I was a guy that went to 3 camps just to get drafted and end up being the 5th pick. So I feel like the work that I put in over 15, 20 years, before and during my professional career, that I played the game the right way, that I played it where I showed younger players how to be successful and how to enjoy the game. I showed men's, women who is not as athletic how to play the game and to play it the right way and to play it from a team standpoint.
Yeah, but to say you know the technicalities of this game, and during a moment like that, the biggest debate is always who's the greatest of all time. And Last Dance comes out, and a lot of people, Michael didn't highlight you, Michael didn't highlight Horace Grant, and Horace wasn't too happy about it. And I remember when Horace was in the league with him and his brother, right? If I'm not mistaken, his brother's name was what, Brian? I think it was Harvey Grant, right? And he played for the Bullets, I think. I don't know what it was called back then. I think it was the Bullets, if I'm not mistaken. Also, a big guy. Yeah, Harvey Grant. He played at the Blazers, but I think he started off with the Bullets, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was a Bullet.
And by the way, I thought Horace was great, because I think Horace came to the Lakers as well 1 season or 2, and he had a pretty good run there as well.
Yeah.
So when you're going through it and you say something like that, I think this is a part where, for someone like you that has been as involved in the NBA drama, positive drama, not negative drama. We're not talking about drugs and stuff like that. I'm talking positive drama of the NBA that makes the NBA exciting, that people want to talk about. The weight behind you saying the greatest of all time. I'm wondering, was it you fully believe? Because you made some arguments that, sometimes LeBron is a more complete player than Michael. You've had those types of discussions. Remember, I watch you. You don't watch me. I've watched you way more than you watch me. So I've seen you say stuff. You're Scottie Pippen. Yeah. You're not just a regular player that played in the game. You're a Hall of Famer, top 50. And arguably, when we put our starting 5 together, dude, I want you on my team, because I want somebody that plays defense the way you do, that's an all-around guy, that as a defensive player, dude, I can only imagine in practice how I was guarding Michael every freaking day in practice. What is that going to do to you? That's a scary job to have, to get better at that, right? But you said the greatest. So when I see a fall sometimes, or I see something, is people are in my ear. And sometimes the hardest thing to do in life, I saw my parents get a divorce. And when they got a divorce twice and they remarried each other, each family was saying, she doesn't appreciate you enough. He doesn't appreciate you enough. And this flattery is divisive to put a little wedge between you. I know it's not a comfortable thing to probably talk about, but did any of that happen where someone was saying, come on, Scottie, Michael would have never won 6 without you. Come on, Scottie. And Michael said it himself, but from your standpoint.
No, that's the reason why I say stuff like that is because when you play the game the way that I played it, you play on both ends. Why can't I say that?
Oh, that's okay. You can say that.
So
no one's saying you can't say that.
Yeah, and say it and mean it.
Oh, so you do believe that?
I'm saying, yeah. Look at the stats. I got 6 rings too. Look at my accolades. I got defensive player, all NBA. So playing the game the right way and winning means something to me, and it meant a lot to me. I don't have the MVPs, but guess what? Somebody that was with me got it.
Would you say
I didn't have the final MVP, but hey, we won the championship.
I get that, but that could be to say you would have.
Well, here's my thing is, to me, before the 90s, I had never in my life heard anything about a GOAT in basketball.
Interesting. Really?
Never. I had never heard anyone say, who's the greatest player in the NBA?
Scottie.
Before the 90s. Who was that guy then? If you had heard that, who was that guy? And why is he not being mentioned today?
I would say the debate pre-90s, you got to realize, I'm in the Middle East during that time.
I understand that. So
the greatest basketball player in Iran was probably a different guy. But if I were to say the discussion, when I hear that one time that I don't know if it was NBA was celebrating the top 50 greatest players of all time, and Wilt and Michael are in the corner having a heated debate. This is a story I've read about. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've read about it in many different places.
Let me just go back a little further.
Please.
Let's go back to the 80s.
Okay.
Before the 80s. Let's go in the mid-80s. Who was the GOAT?
During that era of all time?
Of all time.
I would say there's a strong argument at that time for Wilt being the greatest of all time. Because the Lakers hadn't yet gone on their dominant, destroyed his opponents.
So why is he not mentioned now? Why is he not? I don't even hear about him now.
Oh, I mentioned Wilt. I mean, you're talking about the guy that has...
he got 13 rings.
Well, no, he didn't get 13 rings. Russell got... you're talking about Russell.
I mean, Russell, yeah.
I'm talking Wilt.
Well,
Russell got the 11 and the 2 additional ones. Yeah, 13 rings. But there's a difference because we can say Ori got 7, right? Ori's not in the discussion of all time. But Ori wasn't the face of the team, and Ori...
So what's the credentials to be that guy?
To be the greatest of all time?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great conversation. I'm curious to know what you say. I'm a fan. I'll give you my opinion, but I want to hear from you.
I don't think it exists in team sports. I don't think it exists in team sports.
Okay. You don't think it exists in team sports?
No.
Can I push back?
Yes, please.
Okay. So there's a part of me that agrees with you in certain games, sports. For example, it's very tough for baseball. I don't know if you're a baseball guy or not, but in baseball, if you say who's the greatest of all time, you could say Babe because he was a two-way player and he hit the 700 plus. He had 60 home runs in a season. You could say Barry Bonds, but Barry didn't win the chips, and his career in the playoffs is suspect. You could say Willie Mays, 660, defensive player. My argument is Willie. When I have the conversation, it's Willie. But then you could say you forgot about all the pitchers.
Here's my punch back at that. Did Barry Bonds ever strike anybody out?
No.
So what did he do on the other side of the field to make him the greatest?
He was a Golden Glove guy. He was a good, but he didn't strike people out. But I think it's a different game in baseball than basketball. I think in basketball, you know, when I think about basketball, okay, so maybe let me play this game in a different way with you. You're an NBA owner, Scottie.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play a game called NBA Draft Pick.
Yeah.
Who's your number one draft pick to put a team together?
Which era?
Any era. Today, to play today, who do you pick as your number one draft pick?
In today's era player, I'll take Wembanyama, the young player with San Antonio.
So your all-time to pick your number one draft pick, you pick Wemby 1. Wow. Who's 2?
Well, you saying now, so I got to look at this era and say, hey, this kid young, he's got 1 year. Yeah.
So you think Wemby
I'll develop him.
You think Wemby in this era does better than Michael would do in this era?
Well, you asked me this era. That's why I asked
I got you.
Which
then do
era
all time.
you asked
I'm sorry,
me to
do
pick
all
from.
time.
Do all time. Then I'm going to pick my era. I'm
Okay.
going to pick the team that won 6 titles.
Who's your number one draft pick? Player.
I'm going to pick Michael.
Okay. Who's your 2?
I'm going to pick me.
I agree. Who's your 3? To put a team that wins, who's your 3?
I'm going to pick Dennis or Horace Grant, whichever era.
I see what you're doing. I see. Okay, so let's just say Dennis is 3. Who's your 4?
Don't matter. Give me anybody. I'll take you.
So let me get this straight. So your mindset is you, Michael, and Dennis will beat any team that anybody puts together.
We did it for 3 years.
Twice.
No, I did it with Horace the first time. But, yeah, me and Michael did it
that's
for
right.
6.
That's right. That's fair enough. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's why I said Dennis or Horace. Okay, but if you're – and I want to qualify this because to me that could still be a safe space answer because you're still saying that I'm picking us against anybody else. Right.
I'm picking the greatest team against anybody.
Yeah, but when you say you're the greatest of all time and the GOAT debate, that's still saying that you're ahead of Michael. So your position is still in the game of NBA, you're the greatest of all time all around.
I'm speaking from a team standpoint.
Would you put yourself ahead of LeBron?
As a team standpoint.
Would you put yourself ahead of LeBron as a team standpoint?
My success as a team is more successful than LeBron. I got 6 rings.
Okay, so then if I talk to an NBA owner, by the way, this is very helpful because realize
I'm loving it.
This is very helpful because for me as a fan, I've followed this. So if I speak from an NBA standpoint, owner, and I want to find an all-around player to be my number one, you think the average owner is going to pick you or LeBron?
I don't know.
Got it. Okay. So that...
You want individual accolades or you want championships? Because I didn't chase mine.
Okay. And that's an argument that LeBron went to Miami. He went back to Cleveland to win with Kyrie, and then he went back to LA to win with Anthony Davis. All are, Michael never had teammates like that, and you had Michael as a teammate. But in this specific context, Scottie, I think this is very important because I'm really trying to understand your position. Is specific with you against Michael. You're still saying Michael's the greatest of all time, but maybe you're saying you're the greatest teammate of all time. Would that be a better way of qualifying it?
I would say, if you want to say it that way. But again, team sports to me, there's no GOAT. There's great teams. But as an individual, you got to go to individual sports.
Yeah, I think okay, so maybe well, I mean, the fact that I ask you to draft, who would you pick as number one? Just by you saying Michael won,
I looked
you
at
too,
this era.
Right.
But if you ask me to pick a team, NBA, then I'm going to pick my era and my team. that's the most dominant team that's played in the game.
Yeah.
There's no team that's done what the Bulls done.
You picked Michael ahead of you, though. So that, in essence, you're saying Michael's the greatest of all time.
Well, he's older than me, so he would have been in the game before me.
You're so funny. Scottie, I am really trying to figure.
You want me to pick
you
myself?
You are so funny, Scottie. You are so funny. Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright.